Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem HaRakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great most in the real world. And shalom to all the brothers through the work of Syrian truth. Um, yeah, this, this whole economy is, it's become clear, it's become evident that, you know, it can crash at the drop of a hat. That's something that's, you're going to see come through real straightforward. Because the main thing is what the inflation. Inflation's been run away for a little while. Everything I've been trying to do to kind of temper it ain't working. Because why? The inflation's happening off the back of fuel, food, and that's something that it leaks into absolutely everything. Because everyone needs food, everyone needs fuel. And summertime, so like the burn of paying, to warm your house and whatnot isn't being felt at present. But the cost of getting anything anywhere, and this being a global economy, it's been felt everywhere. And as, money gets tighter, less money going into various different other things, then it gets tighter for a variety of industries, and it's something that's just being felt all round. And you had you had crypto tank legendary, you had stocks tank legendary. So yeah, who says stocks in biggest weekly loss since, by way of root, it says stocks in biggest weekly loss since 2020 on interest rate worries. World stocks on Friday closed out their steepest weekly slide since the pandemic meltdown of March 2020, as investors worried that tighter monetary policy by inflation-fighting central banks could damage economic growth. Yeah, so it's the worst drop since the pandemic. And it's funny, the pandemic rallied afterwards because of all the money getting pumped in from what the fuck are they called? From all the policies basically to keep the economy alive. Now all those things are exhausted. And the thing is, anyway, is this is not just one event like with the pandemic. This is a culmination of a variety of things, of which like the loss of all the what the fuck is it called? The loss of all the grain and whatnot, the supplies and the fuel and supplies from Russia, and then the food as well that comes from Ukraine, because obviously they're in the middle of the war. These things all hitting it. It's basically just layers on layers all hitting. It says world stocks on Friday closed out their steepest weekly slide since the pandemic meltdown of March 2020, as investors worried that tighter monetary policy by inflation-fighting central banks could damage economic growth. The U.S. Federal Reserve's biggest rate hike since 1994, the first such Swiss move in 15 years, a fifth rise in British rates since December, and a move by the European Central Bank to bolster the in-depth South, all took turns roiling markets. The Bank of Japan was the only outlier in the week, where money prices rose around the world, sticking on Friday with its strategy of pinning 10-year yields near zero. After sharp early losses, world stocks somewhat steadied to ending Friday's session down by just 0.12%. The weekly slide of 5.8% was the steepest since the week of March 20th, 2020. Wall Street's Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped 0.13%. The S&P 500 added 0.22%, and the Nasdaq Composite jumped 1.43%. For the week, the S&P 500 dropped 5.8%, also its biggest fall since the third week of 2020. Inflation, the war, and lockdowns in China have derailed the global recovery, economists at Bank of America said in a note to clients, adding that they see a 40% chance of a recession in the United States next year as the Fed keeps raising rates. Yeah, the recession is no. I don't think anyone is not expecting a recession. Anyone that's really thinking it ain't gonna happen, they don't know what's going on. Because all of the issues, bro, there's no solution to be found. Like there's no fix. Where the fuck is the fix at? What are they gonna be able to do, to flip it, to make to make it work? Ain't looking like that exists. Says what? We look for GDP growth to slow to almost zero, inflation settle around 3%, and the Fed to hike rates above 4%. Yes, optimism on the inflation settling. It's funny as well because like fucking Biden just dashed the billy at what the hell they call Ukraine as well. So it's like the way money's getting flowing. I'm wondering how this inflation's meant to go down. But okay. The Fed on Friday said its commitment to fight inflation is unconditional. Fears its rate hikes could trigger recession, supported Treasury prices, and slowed the rise in yields, which fall when prices rise. 10-year Treasury yields retreated to 3.22944% after hitting an 11-year high of 3.498% on Tuesday. Southern European bond yields dropped sharply after reports of more details from ECB President Christine Lagarde and the central bank's plans. The more aggressive line by central banks adds to headwinds for both economic growth and equities. The risk of recession are rising while achieving a soft landing for the US economy appears increasingly challenging. Yeah. And that's the thing, it's like as the the reality that a recession's coming sets in, people are gonna start fucking losing. That's when people are gonna start stockpiling on certain things. People are gonna start. Well, it's like with the fuel prices as well. When you start getting people making a run, because why? It looks like the price might go up. Looks like the supply might be affected. Same with different foods, as people realize that certain things, that supply chain's done, and certain, like when they realize certain countries, that's the thing is at present the global, especially with food, the global kind of trade is still running to a certain extent, but there's gonna be a point where they'll just be like, we can't even justify selling this shit anymore. We need it for us, which has happened with a few things. Poultry is a part of it, like fucking chickens and whatnot, eggs. It's gonna hit a point where it's just gonna be like, we can't even we ain't even able to move these things around. We're gonna have to keep all that shit for ourselves, and then you're gonna see it start spiking in price, or just disappear. A lot of them things you're gonna have the last one in, they ain't gonna know it's the last stock they got in, then it'll be gone, and then people will be coming for their wings, and they'll be in fucking terror as the wings have ceased to exist. They'll start to riot. Jake would riot for the wings, man. But yeah, let me read this. Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Yeah. Essentially, it's a thing with what? Jake is looking to Esau. They're looking to Esau's government. They're looking to his, the current structure for that solution. And the form that solution is going to take is what? The charagma, the mark. And that is something that if you take, you're marked. You've set yourself a nice cozy seat in the midst of the lake of fire, where you're going to be made to dance, man. You're going to be shaking a leg in them flames as you get destroyed, when Yahushua makes his return. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Yeah. All that trust, all that faith they have within Esau's system, it's going to be flipped. Because that's the thing, is even taking the charagma, they don't mean everything's going to work out. They're going to sell it like, yo, this is it. They say you make everything peaceful, they make it cushy. They say if you want to just keep on living life, which will happen to a certain extent. Because it says in Matthew 24, what they'll, giving in marriage, right up until marrying and giving in marriage, right up until the door to the ark shut. It's going to be the same thing now, where people are going to be, having their weddings, getting together, doing all the good things. Up until what? Up until, the destruction comes down. And read this, Habakkuk 2:5. It says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Yeah, this whole system, this whole apparatus Esau's made, for his theft, for his hoarding of the resources of the world, from concentrating everything within his system, mainly in the beast. That's something that is being looked at now by the nations. It's like, yo, hold on, this guy's took everything, this guy's got everything, and he's not been judged, man. And that as well, as it fades, everyone's looking like, yo, might have to dip out, man. Might have to fuck off. That's funny, because that shit happened with Brexit. Same thing over here, where it's like a lot of people are just looking like, yo, these men are drop the ball. We're looking to fuck off. So it says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Yeah, man's gonna be that booty, gonna be getting torn to shreds by these heathens, man. Because these guys are gonna be like, yo, this thing is done, man. It's washed. This guy did all that robbery, and now his shit's washed. It's played out. It's done. He was once that bright star. Now it's just looking at him like, who's this, man? Is this even the same guy? And that's all that shine, all that luster from Babylon, where it's now being looked at like, was that even so great, that America? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Yeah, it's a recompense for the acts Esau did to gain them things, man, and to maintain them. It's a recompense. That's the thing. It's a balance of the scales. That's why it says, what? Reward them double. Double according to all his works. Esau's gonna get that double because that's how the paybacks got to be dealt. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Shab Shem Shalom.